to be able to see my screen. I just wanted to speak about a few plays and reports that could have been used today. Normally we do this pre-market, but unfortunately I had to take care of some stuff off the desk, and that's also why obviously the algos have been operating for me this morning on the NASDAQ and then also on the DAX as well. But obviously some nice easy plays above the opening range. So if we just look over here, this is a 5-minute time frame on the NASDAQ. We're actually still at at market highs, and I think this was some pretty easy plays today. So obviously guys that trade the orb, I like using the orb with VWAP and obviously the Edgeful reports. But I think some very, very nice easy plays here today that could have been taken advantage of. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the Edgeful algos, is that even though I was off the desk, I was able to catch this momentum to the high side. But let's just look at some easy plays, like plays of the day. Now, obviously, hindsight is always easy, but when you are trading with Edgeful, going back off the back-tested data, and I think this was a very, very nice play. So we get the break of the opening range to the high side, and that's when my orb algo took the trade. But I think if you're getting a pullback here, this is where you want to be kind of getting in. I don't know how you guys really trade, but how I trade is I don't really trade with tight stops. I would, look for an entry somewhere in and around here. We're trading above the opening range high, above the New York session VWAP, which is that blue line coming across my screen, and getting some extension. I would probably like to go with the stop loss underneath that New York session VWAP. Give me a little bit of room, right? So on NASDAQ, that would be about 40 points or something like that, 40, 50 points. But it obviously would depend from trader to trader. You guys got to find how you want to trade. But I think if we just go to some Edgeful reports as well, let's just go to the screener. And this is probably one that will stick out quite nicely. Let's just wait for it to load. Should get it coming up here. But you guys should be able to see this on my screen, correct? But yeah, as I said, we normally do these streams pre-market. But I hope that you guys have had a solid week. I think going into the weekend, it's always good to do like a weekly review, recap. Where did you go wrong? Where did you go right? How can you kind of improve going into next week? And I love doing, weekly reviews, recaps, because we can always obviously look to get better in our trading. I don't know why is it my internet or anything like that, but why it's not loading nicely. Let's just wait for that to come up and hopefully that works. Because I do want to show you the screener. Let's go like that. And then let's go to all. As we wait for it to come up. But yeah, I think as we head into weekend, there we go. Okay, there, it's working now. So as you can see over here, it was mostly favoring the longs today. But let's just go to all. That was on the futures. Let's just go to all, and hopefully this comes up as well. I don't know why it's not taking its time a little bit. But this is something that's very, very powerful with the Edgeful screener. There we go. From a discretionary trading perspective, look at this. So 69% of my reports were leaning on the bullish side of things. So that would also help you keep the long bias. I like using the opening candle continuation. Now, if you look at the Mag 7 stocks, only Amazon and Nvidia were actually bearish. Why I'm interested, it does trade pretty differently to the NASDAQ and ES charts, I have noticed from my own trading as well. But look at that, bullish across the board, only Nvidia and Amazon being bearish in the first hour. So meaning that from the 9:30 to 10:30, those that first hour, the candle closed bullish, if that makes sense. Okay. And then again, like look at the orb over here. So we have breakouts, yes, and then very, very little double breaks, even on the Mag 7 stock. So that shows a clean trend. Most of the times when we are getting double breaks, we're kind of indecisive because price is chopping back and forth between that opening range. So we break the high and we also break the low. That's kind of sometimes can be an indecisive day. But again, NASDAQ trading again at all-time highs, as well as highs of session now too. And that's where obviously my algo managed to take those longs. Very, very nice. But I think this is how I personally like to use my discretional trading and how I've always, shown you guys here on stream, is trading in line with that New York session VWAP will always keep you on the right side of things. Of course, always with the orb and the Edgeful data as well, always it plays that extra factor. But for me, price action is king. We get that nice bullish continuation to the high side, a breakout, a pullback, and then longs in here, very, very nice, right? Longs in there would be very, very neat using the New York session VWAP and the Edgeful reports. Everything's pointing bullish in terms of the actual data. Okay, and then you also got a clean break and above the highs and continuation. Now let's go over to the ES chart as well. A little bit more choppier here on the ES chart, I must say. ES does tend to be a little bit more choppy for those that do obviously trade ES and NQ. I must say, I do prefer NQ at the moment. It has been treating me quite nicely. But yeah, just very, very clean price action. Again, we don't get a double break. So you see how sometimes going with a wider stop, or you can be scalping for a few points here off the, like maybe off the opening range high to the top there. So there'll be like, what would that be? That would be, 3 or 4 points, 5 points scalping that. But I think the nice move also into the afternoon. Let's actually also go to the DAX. Also want to maybe speak a little bit about this, and yeah, what's up? If you've got any questions, just make sure to pop it in the chat too. But the DAX, I had some nice shorts in my algo this morning, which was nice. So let's put up remember that the DAX is a European market index. It trades at the London Open. So obviously that would be different timings. 3 a.m. to 3:15 would be the opening range, whereas obviously New York opening range would be 9:30 to 9:45. But look again how we break the lows over here and we just flush. And that's when my algo took those shorts. I actually managed to get, because I was able to be on this morning, not this afternoon. I'm in South Africa, so I can actually trade both sessions, which is pretty neat. But then again, when you are having the algos run for you, it's fully automated, right? You don't have to actually touch anything if you don't want to. But look at this, takes the lows and just flushes there, no double break. And these are the trades that you kind of want to be in. Now we can actually pop on a London session open view app over here as well. And the same concept applies. We want to be looking for shorts below it and obviously longs above it. So that blue line over here is that London open session view app. And I think, yeah, just some very, very clean moves obviously today. And I know hindsight bias is obviously always going to be easy. But again, the algos took the trades for me as well. So it's just going back based off data. I'm coming to the desk every single day trying to trade, with in line with that London Open or New York session view up if I'm trading the DAX in the London session, or NQ or ES in the afternoon session. But I think there's some nice opportunities here. Obviously, we are currently trading at all-time highs on American markets. I did mention this in my some of my pre-market streams, which I normally am doing at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So if you are joining for the first time here, I normally do it for about 10 to 15 minutes pre-market, just showing you maybe the plays from the previous day, what we could maybe expect for the current day, and just speaking. I think trading can be lonely at times, so getting on here and just chatting to guys, seeing what they're seeing, and getting some good just seeing what other guys are seeing on the charts, really. But yeah, something also interesting on NQ, which I think is very, very neat. So let's just get the New York session opening range as well. Look how we actually take out. So this white line coming across my screen over here, is that previous day's highs. So look how we take the opening range high, okay, and we take the previous day's range report as well. Now, obviously, you can also see I've got that previous day's range report over here in the screener, which also will show me if the previous day's highs have been taken out. And look, again, also very, very bullish. YM actually looks like we traded as an inside day, same as RTR, because we did not take the highs or the lows. So you want to be trading with the index that's looking obviously a lot more, trendy. But yeah, I mean, this is some great confirmation. Orb and New York session view up. We take the highs, we look for the longs. Is every single trade going to work? Of course not. That's not, even if you're looking at the algos, you're not going to get if you can get a win percentage above 60% at a good RR, you're going to be doing well. And over time, yes, you got to tweak the algos and make sure that they're operating, but trading with the same concepts each and every single day, I think is something that I try to do. I think a lot of traders, they look to chop and change all the time, and strategy hop and all of that stuff. Particularly new traders, I think they think that there's a holy grail, like they'll have like a losing week, and then they're like, no, stuff this strategy doesn't work, and it's not that. Sometimes you've got to look, okay, and is it you? Is it the markets? What is it? But you got to commit to something, and I just think do it over and over again repeatedly. So yeah, some nice plays today. If you want to go rewatch these streams, I do all of my pre-market streams on my YouTube channel as well. I will bring this up on stream as well. Okay, so all my stuff is all recorded on my YouTube channel, which I will put in the chat here as well. You can hit the link in my bio. Please be careful of scammers messaging you guys privately. I will not message you privately on Discord or anything like that. But yeah, you can go rewatch all of that on my YouTube channel. And then again, I trade live as well, and you can use the code FIRST. At the moment, we are giving away a free month And that's where I trade live for the open. As I said, normally I do the pre-market streams here. But I think just some very, very neat plays, as I said, both on the DAX this morning as well as the NASDAQ. So if you haven't looked at VWAP or the opening range, I really, really encourage you to do so, because I think when you can put forth, like, particularly because my orb algos are running it really, really nicely, both on the DAX and NQ. Is every single trade going to be a winner? Of course not. But over time, they will make money. And I think, if you can just come to the desk every single day with a set plan and repeat the process day in and day out, you'll continue to get better in how you are seeing the charts. I think something, just a takeaway for me this week, because as I said, I think you always should go into the weekend with a takeaway, has been to not spend too much time on the desk, right? I'm up in the London session sometimes trading the DAX, and I might have a winner or loser, whatever it may be. And I don't always want to be coming back, and trading for so long in the afternoon. I kind of use the New York session actually as like my top-up session, because I love trading the DAX. That's where my bread and butter is. But then the New York session I use kind of as a top-up. I might be live with the guys for an hour and then going from there. So don't spend every single minute of every single day. Less sometimes is more. You don't need to be on the charts 6-7 hours a day. I think for most of us, we got into trading to buy back more time and freedom with family, friends, whatever it may be, other businesses. And I think if you can come on the desk for an hour and a half, make money, or lose money some days, but manage risk, you're going to be in a good position. So I hope that you guys have a solid weekend. Go watch those streams. Also, we do record our live streams as well. So if you aren't able to make them live, you can also go rewatch them. As I said, currently are giving a free month away using the code first. And then obviously live in the Edgeful Discord. I'm live here pre-market 8 a.m. every single day. And then obviously in the Edgeful Discord as well. How I see you on here, know that a lot of you guys sometimes do join me pre-market. If you got any questions, put in the chat here. I'll answer. And but yeah, less is more. You don't need to be on the charts all day, every single day. Make your money, get off, learn from your losses if you did have losses that day, and don't overtrade. As I said, I think the key thing for me to take away for this week is less is more. Take good quality setups, and you will be rewarded. So I hope that you guys have a fantastic weekend.